All right, everyone, what is going on? This is episode 475 of the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller over here to talk about Georgia Southern Atlanta Falcons football. And as of my recording right now, I am watching both games, the Falcons and Georgia Southern. And this is a perfect time for me to talk about this topic because I thought there was a lot of potential in both of these games. And I'm not saying too much bad about the Falcons because the Falcons are actually playing pretty decent considering they're only down by 10 at halftime. But the Georgia Southern Eagles, something has to be done. And we're going to talk about that because now we're getting in panic mode if we're actually going to make a bowl game. And we really need to have that discussion right now before it gets worse. The Falcons, it's not that bad right now. I mean, the Falcons are actually in pretty decent shape, all things considering, but we know the issue there. If this is your first time here, welcome. I can be found on YouTube and Rumble. I'm also on Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. And we're going to talk about these Falcons and Georgia Southern. We're going to talk about this, preferably Georgia Southern, because the way this team started out in the beginning of the season was phenomenal. They played pretty well. They beat up on Nebraska. We had a loss against UAB, which kind of was expected. And everything else was like hit or miss. Don't know what was going on with either team. And nobody knows what's going on with this team. It seemed like they almost fell off a cliff after beating James Madison. And now, to be honest, even with the Old Dominion game, you look at that game like, okay, yeah, we won that game, but we only scored 28 points. So what is really going on with this team? I'm kind of wondering what's going on here because the South Alabama game as well was kind of, pretty disappointing. But the team has not been the same since the James Madison game. And I really want to, talk about that. Georgia Southern is on the verge of not making a bowl game if they keep this up. Like right now, I'm looking at the game. It's in the third quarter. They're down 27-7. And they're really in a situation where they may not make a bowl. They really need to step this up because the offense is capable. But at the same time, when your defense is not giving you any assistance and they put you in a hole like this, we're looking at this team like, okay, they're playing more of a panic mode. They can't play their game plan, and this is where the problems lie. You're not able to run the offense like you want to because when this offense is run like it's supposed to or like it wants to, nobody can keep up with this team. But nevertheless, this is what happens when you're just not able to play, up to your potential, or you're just playing to the weakness that you are. And I hate to say that because Georgia Southern defense, they have the players. I just think they have good players, but I think the scheme that they're running is something they're not used to. And I get it. I mean, we talked about this in my Discord where you had some of our defensive linemen in coverage because that's the way the defense is ran with this, with this scheme. And I get it. We just got to get the players that fit this scheme. And I know, we're also talking about the Coach Harris situation. And Coach Harris, it's not his fault. It's really not because this is his first year. He's playing with the players that he has, and he don't have his players. Almost similar to what Coach Clay Helton has on offense, him and Brian Ellis. They don't have the players that they want, but they've done a pretty good job because a lot of the players that Georgia Southern has are just bona fide athletes. You look at, outside of if you look at outside of Darren Burgess, the returning players, I'll put it like this. Outside of Darren Burgess, everyone else was either like a multifaceted type of player, even Caleb Hood. Caleb Hood was a special team type of guy that does very well on special teams, but he played wide receiver. You also had other players that, J.J. McCaffrey is a tight end, but he was a wide receiver at one point. It's just so much that was, moved around, and it helped the team. But in that same instance, when you're flipping everything around from a team that was doing spread option to a pro pass or air raid, it's going to cause a little bit of problems. Now, my last episode, I talked about Jalen White being the X factor. I wanted him to be the X factor. But the problem was when you're down by so much, you can't run the ball. And it never just got going. And even right now, I'm looking at there's no way they're going to get the running game going. They're going to have to continue to pass. And when you know you have to pass, and when the defense know you have to pass, That's when the defense they're pinning their ears back and they go after the quarterback. Similar to what happened right before halftime when Van Treese was sacked and there was a sack fumble and you saw what happened there. It's really disheartening when you see that because we know what this team is capable of, and I wish that there's somewhere, down the line in these next 2 games, we could clean that up. I put it like this. I need this team to win 1 game. I would like to see this team at least go to a bowl. That would be a big improvement from last year when we went 3-9. I don't think there's no type of improvement if we end up going 5-7 and don't get a bowl. I had this team possibly going 8-4, and you've seen the reasons why when you look at this team. But as of late, this team just been looking completely flat. And it's really, really disheartening at the end of the day. Very disheartening at the end of the day. With that being said, we're going to jump over to the Falcons. We're going to get out of here. But first, before I go to the Falcons, I want to talk about BetUS. BetUS is a sports betting site where you can bet on teams, you can bet on players, you can bet on halves, you can bet on scenarios. You could do a lot of things with BetUSA, not only with the NFL, you can do it with the NCAA football, you can do it with MMA, baseball, basketball. They even got boxing and esports. You can do all of those things. Click the link down in the description below and you put in $100, you get $125 bonus on your sports book right away. So it's like you're already winning just by putting in $100. You more than double your money off the rip. And you can go and look at some other games, which we will talk about later on down the, not just later on, but next episode. We'll talk next episode about some games that I feel that's going to be pretty decent for you can go ahead and bet. I'm going to let you know who I'm betting on, but it looks like tonight, as far as these 2 games, I probably lost some money on both of these teams. You don't have to be me. You can go ahead and put money in and look at some of the teams. I'll give you some insight down the road, and you could bet as well. Once again, all you have to do is put in $100. You already double your money, more than double your money off the rip. If you click that link down in the description, that is BetUS. Once again, BetUS. Click the link down in the description for more information. And like I said, and see what you can do with betting on these teams. I think it'll be pretty cool. All right, now let's talk about these Falcons. Right now, the Falcons are down 13-3. It's in the 3rd quarter. This game is still winnable. We know what the problem is with the Falcons. We already know. Marcus Mariota has not been looking good this game. He's thrown some pretty decent passes, but overall, Marcus Mariota is the issue. I would like to see Desmond Ridder a little bit sooner rather than later, but the reason why you won't see Desmond Ridder is for 2 reasons. 1, they're going to feel like he's not ready. And 2, we're still in the mix of the division, believe it or not. I think those are the 2 reasons why we're not seeing Desmond Ridder, because they feel like Marcus Mariota is doing just enough to keep this team afloat. Now, do I believe in that? Do I think it's good enough? Nah, I don't think it's good enough at all. It's actually abysmal because I feel with this talent on this team, I'm not saying that Desmond Ridder is going to be the end-all be-all and make things happen, but with Desmond Ridder, you will see what you have and things may work a little bit better. And with the talent on this team, we should be putting up more than 3 points in a half. So hopefully I'll eat my words before, once this podcast is over, they may turn around and win this game. We saw how these games go, but still, the fact remains, you look at the title of this podcast, flat performances are frustrating. If they come back to win this game, we'll talk about that at a later time. And I will keep I'll eat my crow. But the Atlanta Falcons are right there. They're so close of actually winning being ahead of the division and possibly taking over this division because the rest of the teams aren't that good. They're just not. The rest of the teams aren't that good. And you even look at Carolina. Carolina is not looking that good tonight either. They had 1 touchdown that was kind of weird. I guess I can give them credit for that, but it was the fact that we kept giving them the ball over and over again. They went right back down and scored. But at the end of the day, the Falcons should be a little bit more explosive than this. They should be able to be doing more things than this. And quite frankly, it's kind of frustrating because you know what this team is capable of. You do not want to lose against this divisional team and be going down even further. Because, Tom Brady and them just got a hold of the first place. You want to keep up with that. You win this game, you're going to be ahead of the division. So I think it's still a possibility that it can happen. The game is not, over or anything. But the thing about it is, you just have to make things happen to put yourself in position to win the game. So with that being said, I feel like the Falcons, even though they have a flat performance, I still feel that they're going to be fine. I think they're going to be okay. They haven't played the worst football ever. They haven't played the worst football in franchise history, but we just know with the quarterback, the way the quarterback that's there, that's going to be the issue. That's just going to be the issue. That's just what it is. So with that being said, I don't have anything else to say on that. And I think I'm just going to keep it right there. I mean, I don't know. I'm really, really just disappointed at the end of the day of both of these teams, because both of these teams have potential to do so much, but there's nothing there. There's nothing there. There's nothing really else to tell you. It's a reality check. The Falcons, Georgia Southern, they're just going to have to do a little bit better. But as of right now, I don't know. Falcons have a chance to do something. Georgia Southern really needs to win at least one more game. I'm really disappointed in that, because I had this team going 8-4, and I'm looking at what this team could have done, and they just went flat ever since. They just went flat ever since, and it really sucks. If you like this commentary, hit the like button, share this podcast, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'm going to continue to root for this team, man. Both of them. I love them. I love these teams. These teams are great. I love the tradition of Georgia Southern. I love the Falcons because they're the home team. But at the same time, you got to call a spade a spade. This is horrible. You know what I'm saying? This is terrible. And I'll just see you guys on the next one. If you guys don't mind, check out our links in the description if you want to support. I'm on Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, YouTube, and Rumble. And I'll see you guys on the next one. All right, y'all. Y'all take it easy. Y'all be blessed. Peace.